thank you so much for joining us for our third episode of Book Reviews with Joy Garcia and
Zen Garcia.
Today I wanted to go over a different kind of book. I noticed on the YouTube lives and a lot of the comments in the YouTube videos that a lot of people were asking about Zen's background story, his testimony, why he's in a wheelchair, and just a little bit more about Zen. And it dawned on me that I don't think a lot of people know that there's a book out there that he wrote that answers all of those questions. So today I wanted Zen to go over just a little bit about his testimony, about his book, A Different Way of Being. So I'll let Zen get started. Zen?
Sure, thank you, Joy. This is my third book, A Different Way of Being. The first three books that I published, Look Somewhere Different and When the Evening Dies, are poetry books, and they basically speak about and cover my journey to awakening and how I broke away from the whole corporate slavery, 9 to 5, and I decided to spend 4 years of my life living in a van and traveling all across the country, staying in different state and national parks, and just writing about my seeking experience of the divine and following really that inherent knowing within all of us to better understand the creation and our Creator. As far as being a poet, and also at that time being involved in New Age mysticism and also shamanism and doing things like sweat lodges, that I would vision quest or go and meditate in places during sunset or whatever to really seek the spirit and to come to know in that way, and to also have direct experience of God. And so that's what I did for 4 years, and I did write about all of my journeys. And it was during that time also that I acquired a disability. I used to spend my winters in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, snowboarding and also teaching martial arts, and my summers I was going to massage school at a place called the Heartwood Institute in Garberville, California. And it was there that we were hitchhiking to a Grateful Dead show in the summertime that we lost our brakes on a mountain road, went off a cliff, we dropped 85 feet, and about 65 feet down we hit a tree, which slowed our descent enough that we didn't explode on impact. And the first poem in this particular book is about that occurrence. And this book is called A Different Way of Being, which speaks about that particular traumatic moment in my life and basically my transition into the strange world of disability, where being paralyzed I became a wheelchair user. And so this is basically covers all the rehab, the therapeutic and occupational therapy, physical therapy that I underwent after acquiring a disability. And because my parents lived here in Atlanta, they flew me from California here to the Shepherd Spinal Center in Atlanta, where I spent the next 6 months in the hospital, which now they force people out at 6 weeks, and I just don't even understand how people can manage. I was so racked in pain and so just shattered. I had to pick up the pieces of what was still who I was and gather all that together to put myself together to where I could even move on. And so this book covers that whole sequence and scenario of my life.
So then I have a quick question. So I've met a lot of people that are mentally, emotionally, they have so much struggle in their life, and it's really hard for them to get past the things that they feel is like unfair or that they missed out on in life, and they're filled with just regret and pain and sorrow. And when I tell them about my father-in-law, Zen Garcia, and you know, everything that you've been through and everything that you've overcome, and through Yad, like being able to, you know, have this ministry, and they just literally, they just can't wrap their minds around it. Just the thought of like being able to move beyond that not just move beyond it and survive, but like thrive and be able to help others and all these different kinds of things. So if you had to kind of give us a little bit of insight of going back to the beginning, when you were kind of at that, I'm sure that there was a fork in the road where it was kind of like, okay, I'm just going to give up on this, like this is just not the plan that I had for myself, versus I'm going to find new purpose, I'm going to move forward. Like, what was that fork in the road like for you?
Of course, when I was paralyzed, became a wheelchair user, I went through a whole situation where I was depressed and even suicidal at first. I mean, that's just a natural part of the process of, the transition into disability. But I wasn't gonna consume myself in that manner to where I got caught up in that space or that state of mind, which is why I named this book A Different Way of Being. It's because I understood that, physically I was in a different place, and I did not want to lose sight of my spiritual, all that I had come to knowledge on in my seeking the divine and having experience of the Godhead early on. I knew that I still had a special role and mission to fulfill, and if I had to do it in a wheelchair, that's fine, but I was going to move on and not get caught up in, just feeling sorry for myself or not completing what I felt God had appointed me role and mission to do here. And I know it's difficult for everybody. All of us are challenged in some way, whether it's mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical, that every day those challenges are very real for each one of us, no matter what form and manner they take. But for each of us, I think we have to try to use what we can and what we have, whether you're paralyzed or you're suffering through depression, that it's difficult to make new choices. But really, if we want to have a life that is meaningful and also happy, that each one of us deserves to be happy in life, that it starts with us, that we're responsible for making new choices, and that we can make new choices. We don't have to dwell in negativity or even allow negative people to surround us and get us all caught up in their drama. That you can release those kind of relationships, even if they are your closest family members. And this is a difficult lesson for a lot of people, but I did learn that really being responsible for my reality, that I wanted to create joy and to really resonate that with the world. And also doing that the Most High has established into the world the law of attraction, and understanding that the Bible also speaks about that you reap what you sow, and that what you speak and how you behave, your intent for interacting with the world and with God, that affects what comes back upon you, and that really magnetically attracts and multiplies. And that if you bless people, whether it's just being kind to the world, as the Ten Commandments speak about, and honoring mother and father, and loving and treating even your enemies in love, that kind of beauty and that kind of kindness, that the creation and the Creator will bless you in such manner. And that's the lesson that a lot of people don't understand as well. And so, having understood these spiritual, lessons or laws early on in my life, even after becoming disabled, I was able to apply them and to move forward and to, again, not hold myself back in a place of darkness, but to move forward and to seek light.
That's beautiful. I loved what you said in our last AMA had said, I would much rather be found
in my wheelchair than lost and walking around. Yeah, that's in this book here.
So, well, thank you so much, Zen. You're such an inspiration. You're such a gift, and we're so grateful for the knowledge that you get to share with us. Justin and I are so grateful that you're such a great dad, and we're blessed to have you. So we thank you so much for joining us for our third episode of Book Reviews with Zen Garcia, and we hope to see you next time.
God bless all.
Shalom.